Hello and welcome back to English class. In today's video we're going to be looking at how to pass part 2 of the Proficiency Speaking of Cambridge. So get ready. Okay, let's get started. This is where it really starts to differ from previous exams, be it first, be it advanced. In part 2, which is known as the collaborative task, you and your partner will have to talk about probably 4 or 5 photos for around 4 minutes. If there are 3 of you, it would be for 6 minutes. So the examiner would select maybe photo B and photo D, and you and your partner would have to talk about these 2 photos or 3 for about 1 minute. And after that minute, then you would have to talk about all of the photos which involve a common theme. Yeah, so it might be about the modern food industry, it might be about consumerism, whatever. Now, towards the end of them 3 minutes, you're probably going to have to choose one photo for a particular purpose, or think of your own idea to include in these pictures. If you're a bit confused, don't worry, we're going to get into it and we're going to have a look at some examples. What does this part of the exam test? Well, it tests things such as sustaining an interaction, okay, so how you can keep the conversation going with your partner, exchanging ideas, we would say in English to bounce off one another, so you accept or you receive his or her point of view, the other candidates, and then you respond. You don't just say, okay, no, you kind of take his or her idea on board and then you give your own, you put your own 2 cents in, okay? Another thing they're going to test you for is agreeing and disagreeing. Another thing you have to do is express your opinion and also justify it. So if you make a point, for example, in my humble opinion, I think it would be a good idea to include into the article. Don't stop there. Say because it would make people aware of whatever it is, okay, whatever the case is. So you have to justify your answer, okay? Of course, we have to speculate as well with these photos, using some modal verbs maybe, such as it might be, it could be, it may be that, etc, etc. Nothing is certain in these photographs, so you can always look to speculate. Nothing is concrete. Okay, another thing is to evaluate. So what is the purpose of this photo? What is it telling you? Is there anything important? Any messages that these photos in particular are transmitting to the viewer or to the reader? And then the last thing they are going to mark you on is you making a decision. Okay, how do you reach a decision with your partner? Okay, so this is where you would use words such as, well, let's get down to the nitty gritty, yeah, or let's get down to business and we'll choose one photo that needs to be chosen for the article. Okay, so let's have a look at an example of ours. So here you have your 4 photos. Imagine the examiner is now going to ask you, I would like you to talk about photos A and D for about 1 minute. So if you would like to now, you could stop the video and try to talk for 1 minute about some aspects of the way people live today as shown in photo A and D. You would have to talk to your partner here for 3 minutes. And the question would be, a magazine is planning an article on the important features in a community. Could you talk together now about the different features and then choose one photo you think would be the best to feature in the article? So if you like now, you could also talk about these 4 photos related to the article. If you have a person with you, fantastic. If not, you could also practice on your own. Also, if you want to do that now, I can give you some vocabulary to do so. Here is a photo now, some vocabulary related to this topic. So, with that in mind, after you've talked about these 4 photos, there will always be one question in the final 3 minutes. But just remember, that question could be for you to include another idea into the common theme, into the photos, or choose one of the photos that are already there for a magazine article or for another purpose, okay? So, perfect. How do we do well in this part? Say, not only I think, but for example, you could say, I reckon that from my point of view, all things considered. Okay, now a good way to make sure the conversation is flowing in this part would be to agree and disagree. So instead of saying, I agree with you, you could say things like, we're on the same page, we see eye to eye, you could say, I'd go along with that. Or even you could say, that's exactly how I feel. If you don't agree, you could say something like, I beg to differ. That's not exactly how I look at it. Or even, I'm afraid I just don't buy it. And then you give your point of view. Okay, remember about justifying your opinion or developing your answer a little bit. Okay, if you say something, back it up with ideas. And if you're sitting on the fence, okay, if you're not agreeing but you're not disagreeing, you're partially agreeing, you could say something like, I take your point, but have you thought of, or that's interesting, but have you considered, etc., etc. Okay, some common problems that you may face in a speaking exam. Now that could be that your partner just dominates the conversation. It just keeps talking and talking and talking. So something that you could do here to kind of give your input, to throw your 2 cents in, if you like, would be to say something like, sorry to stop you, but I believe that, etc., etc. Or you could say, would you mind if I jumped in with an idea? Or even you could say, can I add something here? And similarly, if they insist on interrupting you mid-conversation or mid-discourse, you could say, sorry, I hadn't quite finished. Yeah, and then you carry on your discourse. Or you could say, actually, I'd like to just finish with, and then you carry on. Some common mistakes that we might make in this part of the exam could be speaking too long, which we've just stated. So try to keep your monologues no more than 20 to 25 seconds. If you're going over 20 to 25 seconds, then you're probably not letting your partner speak. Yeah, you need to. It's like a tennis match. You go back and forth. Okay. You bounce ideas off each other. Of course, react to your partner's ideas. Even when you're not talking, make sure you're making eye contact with your partner and even the examiner, and maybe some non-verbal gestures would be of great importance. For example, head nodding, or for example, saying something like absolutely, yeah, or interesting. Okay, so just showing the examiner you're in the conversation, okay? You're still focused, you're understanding, you're going with the flow of the conversation. Some important tips: listen carefully to the instructions, okay? If you don't understand the topic, because it's very, it's not uncommon that you misunderstand the task at hand. If you don't feel comfortable, if you don't think you fully understand the task, no worries. Say to the examiner, excuse me, would you mind repeating the question? Don't worry, okay? You have to make sure you're clear on the task, because when you come to your discourse with your partner, you want to make sure you're on the right track. So guys, if you use all of this functional language, agreeing, disagreeing, giving your point of view, you'll be fine, okay? Just remember, on the day of the exam, be relaxed, throw your 2 cents in, participate in the conversation, show the examiners what you know, and enjoy it at the end of the day. Before we get on to the last part, remember though, that will be in the next video. So, goodbye for now, see you in the next one. Okay, so if you like the video, please leave a thumbs up on the video, of course, subscribe to the channel, and if you like, you can leave a comment in the comment section below about maybe future videos or something that you are unsure of based on this video. Goodbye for now.